Welcome to the Dragon's Library, your source for games, movies, shows, and more. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Dragon's Library, and today we get to talk about a show I actually really like. So, we got Enchanto, really good, we got Resident Evil, really bad, now we're back to really good again. That's how we like to do things. Up and down, up and down. So, I've been exhausted this week. I've had a lot of stuff going on, but there is a few announcements coming up. So, I have recently moved all my stuff over to YouTube. I'm currently going to be uploading the last few videos. This is coming out Tuesday, so I would have already uploaded them hopefully Monday evening. And this video will be the first one that will go out simultaneously on YouTube and my pod page and all the other places where you can get my podcast, Spotify, Google Play, the Google Store, and iTunes. In addition to that, I'm planning on next week, this next Saturday, to be starting my stream of Brilliant Diamond. It's going to be a Nuzlocke. It's going to be a lot of fun, I hope. It's going to be on November the 4th. December 4th. I believe I'm planning on starting at 10 o'clock. I'll be releasing more information on the Twitter at Dragon Library 2. So if you want to check that out, you can check that out. My Twitter is in the show notes or description, depending on where you're watching this. Now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's talk about Arcane. I'm really excited about this because, I'm a gamer and I play a lot of video games, but I actually haven't played League of Legends. I played some Dota when I was younger, mostly because I played Defense of the Ancients on Warcraft 3, because for those of you who don't know, MOBAs, like League of Legends Dota, started out as Defense of the Ancients, which was a modded scenario map for Warcraft 3, because Warcraft 3 had like a customizable map maker where you could build all these specialized scenario maps. There were a lot of fun games like that, like Werewolf Transylvania, Tree Tag, all sorts of fun stuff. You Warcraft 3 fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And once Dota came out, League came out as a competitor to it. I haven't really played League. I played a bit of Smite. I played, like I said, 1 or 2 games of Dota. Never that much. I've just never been a big MOBA fan. However, when this came out, I was interested because it looked really interesting as a show. And it wasn't until I actually, started hearing some other ads for it. I'd known that it was coming out on Netflix, and I wasn't really sure other than it was a really well-animated show based on the trailer. But when I saw that when I started, listening to some other things on, Spotify and stuff like that, I started hearing ads about it talking about as a adaptation of League of Legends. So I'm like, wait a second, this looks like a good video game adaptation. What the heck's going on here? I gotta be there for this. So, I watched the entire show, and here I am. Now, this show actually started coming out a while ago, because for once Netflix decided not to just dump this as a binge thing, and they made us wait for 3 separate weeks to watch this. I know, that was torture, but what are you gonna do? What you gonna do? It finished up, though, on the 20th, and so over a week later, I'm finally talking about it, because I had a lot of other movies to get out of the way before I could talk about the fun stuff. I'm just kidding, Enchanto was fun. So, yeah. Now that we have it, how is it? It's so good. Look, I know everything that's adapted for something else is like, oh no, you totally don't have to play the other stuff to do it. No, you don't have to play League at all. I swear. I have never played League in my life, and I understood this plot perfectly fine. And it did what cross-promotion is supposed to do. It got me interested in the original product. So yeah, it's kind of an advertisement, but it is really freaking good. This stands on its own as just an amazing show. Fantastic characters, some of the best animation I've seen since Into the Spider-Verse. Yes, I will hold by that statement. I love that we're getting more of these experimental, weird style animated shows. I am all over this animated style. It's this weird mix of hand-drawn animation and CG. Oh, so good. So beautiful. Love it. Sorry. I just really like the show. Anyway, I kind of hate that. So basically the way the show was, it was released 3 episodes at a time, once per week, and it finished releasing on the 20th. And I kind of hated that while I was releasing, because I'm the kind of person who likes to binge an entire season at once. I can't stand cliffhangers. And I know, the irony is I eventually get to the end of the season, oh look, there's the cliffhanger. And yeah, I get this tier too, but we'll get to that. But it has beautiful animation, amazing music, soundtrack. It has fantastic characters, all well defined. And it's really genuinely got me interested in the whole world of League of Runeterra, I believe it's called. The main plot of the show starts out... So the first 2 episodes have introduced us to Piltover and the Undercity of Zaun. Just called the Undercity at first, but it's eventually called Zaun. And basically, Piltover is a steampunk pseudo-utopia, with Zaun being, of course, the cyberpunk-style Undercity of everyone who built the utopia, or mines all the stuff that keeps their stuff running. And it centers around the fallout of a single heist gone wrong. So there's always been tensions between the Undercity and Zaun, but over the years they basically come to a sort of mutual agreement between the police force up on Piltover and the leader of the criminal underworld in Zaun. This giant guy. God, what was his name? Vander. And he tried to lead this failed rebellion or something a while back, but now the tensions have mostly calmed down. The police stick to the top side. He'll try and keep the worst people part of his organization, who the police don't go after, from going or doing anything to major uptown. Basically, it's a sort of, I look the other way when you take out the people who aren't aligned with us. You look the other way when occasionally my people do something stupid. And basically, he started looking after these kids who lost their parents in the whole uprising thing called Vi and Powder. They're 2 kids, along with their adopted brothers, Milo and Clagger. And the show starts out with them wanting to, do something, because, again, they're in the Undercity. It's kind of like the cyberpunk thing, where they're basically all just kind of having to steal to survive. So they plan this heist of this really rich apartment up in Piltover. It was supposed to be a simple thing, in and out. They go on the rooftops. There's this awesome scene where they're jumping over the rooftops. You get the idea that Powder is younger than the others. The other 2 think they maybe should have left her behind. One of them is really a dick about it. And Vi is trying to convince Powder to take these leaps. And it's like, yeah, she does it. She needs a bit of a helping hand, but she's doing a good job. And so they go to rob this guy. And they find that he has all these weird, strange inventions. He must be a student at the university. And while they're stealing, Powder goes off into one of the room and finds these strange glowing crystals. However, the robbery goes wrong. They barricade the door, but he's going to get in, and they all have to run out. While they're running, Powder stuffs all the gems into her pouch, but one of them falls out, rolls under the table, starting to spark and glow and build with power until, boom, it explodes. They escape, but there's this massive explosion. It sparks new tensions between Piltover and Zaun, and it reveals the research. It gives Powder gets away with a lot of the crystals, and it reveals the research behind that. The guy who we learn is called Jace. We learn the research he was working on. See, Piltover and to a lesser extent Zaun were founded basically to get away from mages. In this world, mages can be people can be naturally born with magic, and they can wield incredible power. We see scenes of mages doing incredible things like, conquering mountains, or there's this one guy who saved Jace a long time ago by teleporting him and his mother from a blizzard to a peaceful meadow. So they wouldn't freeze to death and die out there. And Jace saw all the runes he formed, and that he wasn't just throwing magic around, he was shaping it into particular shapes, and he believed that he was basically working on the theory that you could create machines that could mimic the actions of mages, so that non-mages could use the power safely. But of course, Piltover was literally found to get away from the warmongering mages who could, basically it's the natural conclusion of, hey, we have a bunch of people who can reshape reality and are naturally born with the talent. What happens? Oh, mass chaos as kingdoms rise and fall on the whim of who has the stronger mage, and mages themselves carve out entire empires that rise and fall as they die? Okay, that's kind of chaotic. Let's build a place away from them. And Jace's technology is originally seen as very heretical, and that's how the first arc plays out. Jace trying to prove that his technology works, or at least that it could work if he was given the chance. The council not wanting to give a chance. Meanwhile, Vi and Powder having to deal with the fact that they've sparked a new pseudo-war between Vander and the Piltover guards. And the guards want the people responsible for the explosion. They're just kids. Of course, Vander doesn't want to give them up. And meanwhile, his brother is using a corrupt cop. His brother, who he thought was dead a long time ago, is sort of like the big villain, believes Zahn should declare independence. Is working on his own project with this like addictive mutagenic drug. It sees this as his personal opportunity to betray Vander, to take over from Vander, basically. Take the Undercity from him, become its new leader, so that he can lead it in, towards his sinister goals. And of course, Vi and Powder are caught up in this. Things go heads up. Rest of the show begins. I'm not going to spoil any more than that. I think you need to see it for yourself. Like, seriously, go watch this. It's 9 episodes, so that's not that much time, okay? It's not. It's about an hour and a half for each little arc. There are 3 major arcs. You can just watch it in 4.5 hours. Okay? Go watch this. I'm not even joking. If you refuse to watch this, you are ruining this for yourself. This is Into the Spider-Verse, which I will eventually talk about Into the Spider-Verse, even though everybody's already said good stuff about it. This is an amazing show. It deserves a lot more attention. Seriously, just go watch this. Sorry, I don't say that often about stuff. We'll do whatever. I'm no. Everyone listening to me needs to, if you haven't seen it yet, stop this and go watch it. That's all I have to say right now. Okay? Alright, now everyone who hasn't watched it is gone. Let's move on to the spoiler section. Oh, where to start? Okay, first off, this animation style, I'm just all over it. The scenes where Jinx is slowly losing her mind and the lines are coming off people as they're supposed to be talking in her head to her. Just holy shit, every scene with Jinx is just a technical marvel. Love it. So let's just continue on the plot line for now. Everybody who knows this already knows Jace's plan eventually succeeds with the help of an assistant. He creates a working version of the magic that's sort of a technical anti-gravity device, but it works. He proves to the council that the magic can be harnessed through technology, and Vander is killed in a massive explosion. Vander is captured by his brother, Soco. He's betrayed by one of his closest allies. Vi and the kids go on a rescue mission to go get him out. Powder's ordered to be left behind. They're about to free him, although the door is being broken down by one of the people on the mutagenic drugs. And afterwards, and right as they're about to get away though, they're about to make this really quick escape, and it turns out Powder had come back because she believed she could help, but she saw the monster trying to get at them. So she used one of her wind-up explosives and armed it with the explosive crystal she had, and it caused a massive explosion. It decimated Soko's supplies and a lot of his men, destroyed the arm of the woman who betrayed Vander. She becomes a kind of a cyborg who comes back regularly, which is nice. And it kills 2 of their friends, their 2 adopted brothers, and Vander. Jinx and Powder, Vi realizes what Powder did and says, "You were always a Jinx," just like her friends used to jokingly call her as a joke, a mean joke. And tells her she's abandoning her. Silco, who always felt abandoned by Vander, comes and takes her and is "It's all happening again. All of it's happening again. I will not let you suffer as I have." Meanwhile, when Vi sees Soco coming to her, she thinks she's in danger, and she actually, I really like this because in a lot of movies you'll have the big betrayal, and then it's all feelings for them are completely dead, but it's that's actually not true. When Vi sees that Powder is being approached by Silco and she thinks he's gonna kill her, she realizes what she's done. It's "Oh no, Powder, no. She rushes back to get to her, which is actually a lot more believable. It more shows she do stuff like that. But before she can get to her, obviously the corrupt guard is I've done some horrible shit, but I'm not letting you die tonight. I'm not seeing any more kids die. I regret everything I've done, but I can at least save you. Now, he ends up putting her in prison, but from his point of view, he was sort of if you stay here, Soko will kill you. I'll put you in prison. That'll ease my conscience, and then I can go back to working for him with less regret. Because he killed his captain, the person in charge of the guards working with Vander, got killed as a result of Silco's takeover. And Silco is "Here you go. Here's your payment." And the guard has and I really like the guard because he has this massive crisis of conscience the entire time. Ever since he saw what Silco was planning. He realized, oh shit, I screwed up. Oh shit, I'm in too deep. What have I done? Kids are dying. This new drug Silco has unleashed has ravaged the Undercity. I am personally responsible for so much suffering. And the only reason he keeps working is because Silco is threatening his daughter, and he constantly, there's this moment where Silco's like, you could do it, Just pull the pin out of that grenade right there. Just blow us both up. Nah, you won't, will you? You love living too much. There you go, boy. Go on. Go on. Take your money and go home to your daughter. It's just this moment of the guard actually has this flash of him pulling the pin and killing Silco, and he just doesn't. He can't bring himself to it. Oh my god, these side characters just have these amazing arcs, and I love it. Sorry, I cannot get over how good this show is. There's that kid, the other kid, adopted kid, from Vander, Echo. He comes back as a vigilante trying to fight against Soco and Powder, who's now Jinx. She's gone a bit mad from, accidentally causing the death of her father figure and her two adopted brothers, seeing all this chaos erupt in the underworld, being betrayed by Vi just when she needs someone to go to. Oh, and of course, feeling personally responsible for all that's happened to her and to everyone else, and feeling again, she's a Jinx, a curse on everyone around her. But Soco takes her in. He teaches her, but she's wild, uncontrollable. And the others are like, dude, this girl is going too far. She's killing people. She's drawing attention to our operations. She's messing up. And Soko's like, I can't abandon her. I'd be no better than my brother. Tensions escalate. The magic tech gets better. They find ways to make portable devices. Vi gets released from her prison by someone who's helping her look into everything. Was it Mel, I think? I believe it's Mel. She's looking into Silco and trying to figure out what's going on. They figure out that Silco wants to set up Zaun as its own separate nation. And it all just crashes into this giant crescendo of different desires and wants. Jace betrays his mentor and gets him exiled from Piltover. It just... all of it. It always feels like a natural progression. These don't feel like out-of-character actions. They always feel like they built up to something. But there was one moment when I was watching this show that I knew I was looking at a masterpiece. Let me set the scene for those of you who ignore my advice and didn't watch this first, in which case, shame on you, but I digress. Let's see the scene. So, Silco is meeting with Jace. Jace just busted a big drug operation of his, but people died, even a kid, and he's really freaked out. Vi wants to go fight Silco to the final breath, but Jace is like, we'd win. If Piltover and Zaun went to war, even with your advantages, Zaun would lose. And Jace doesn't want to see that, because he's now seen the death that comes from Piltover's guards going down to Zaun. He sees what has been happening all these years, and he cannot bring himself to inflict more of it. So he decides to offer Silco a deal. He will cease manufacture of Shimmer, the mutagenic drug, and he will hand over the person responsible for the crystal theft, aka Jinx, that happened in the second arc that set Mel down the path to release Vi from prison and start investigating Soco, and in exchange, Zaun will be declared its own nation. So Soco can have all of his dreams. He can even start, trying to clean up Zaun from its Shimmer problem, build into an actual nation, but he has to give up the daughter he brought in. The one who was, basically, he has to do to his daughter what Vander did to him. Vander betrayed him because he would not, basically, Vander tried to kill him because Silco had decided that he would not give in to Piltover's request and build a peace. Vander was tired of the fighting, he wanted to just stop it, and that's how they set up the deal with the Piltover's guards. However, Silco hadn't wanted to, and Vander had forced to put him down in order to achieve his peace. And now, he's being offered the same deal. He can have an independent Zaun. He can have his dream, freedom. And all he has to do is betray his daughter who has been betrayed by her sister, who he took in because she reminded him so much of himself, and he can't bring himself to do it. That was the incredible part for me. Basically, in all series like this, the bad guy is so obviously the bad guy that they're willing to do it. He's not. He has this whole moment, this whole scene, this quiet scene where he goes to this statue of Vander that had been built. And you can tell he's still conflicted over what happened to his brother, over his death. And he just sits there and he says, I understand now. I understand why you did what you did. Oh, brother, I'm so sorry. And you get this moment of like, I'm in his position. What can I do? And you just, oh my God, that was one of the best scenes in all of television, period. Like, oh my God. When you don't genuinely have the villain realize that kind of thing. And it was huge. Like, Silco has a full-on, like, there's literally basically just an entire episode of him trying to figure out what to do. That's like his arc for an entire freaking episode. And it is so good. And Jinx, meanwhile, is having this existential breakdown. Her creeping madness is finally eating away at the last thing. She saw Vi with the cop Mel and thinks she just, like, went on with someone else. So she gives Vi a choice. She kills the cop, and they just go off somewhere, vanish, and she'll be Powder again. But if not, she'll be Jinx. And look, I love Jinx and Powder's story. We're going to get there, but Soco eventually gets there too because she overheard the offer, and she thinks he's going to betray her. And she even gives him the gun at one point. He's like, I could never betray you. Because that's the thing. Silco's whole deal was that he was unwilling to sacrifice his morals, his beliefs, for peace. He didn't think that even achieving a fraction of his goals was worth giving up his beliefs. And that was really interesting for me. Because before then, he was willing to throw aside all of his morals for his goal. His goal was an independent Zon. He was willing to do horrid things to it, but he's finally found something he's willing to put higher than his beliefs. And when he refuses to do that, and when he dies and reveals to Jinx, I would have never sold you out. And you just get that moment of, oh my shots, he actually really cared about her. Like, a lot. And rewatching all the other scenes where the guards are, where, like, all his assistants and seconds in commands are telling him, like, Jinx is a wild card. We should just give her to the Piltover police and give her both of our realms. And you're just getting like, I can't do that. She's my daughter. She's just going through a hard time. And it's like, oh my God, he really cares about her. Not like a crime boss cares about her. And he's proud of her when she does things. When she steals the orb and the new concentrated ingot of a gem that they made to create portable objects instead of just like large magical contraptions, he's really proud of her. And when he's asked her to build the devices to help use it, to figure out how hex tech works, she has this like thing of like, I'm not good enough. I can't figure it out. It's like, Jinx, you're the only one who figures it out. You're the only one in Zon I can trust with this. And it really comes off as a father trying to tell her daughter, yeah, you can do this, Jinx. He's not just trying to use her because she knows a bit more about how the crystals work than everyone else. He genuinely thinks she can become as good as anyone else that learned up on Piltover. He sees her as like an example of what he's fighting for. And meanwhile, Jinx is having an existential breakdown over the people she murdered, over the sister who she feels abandoned her. And meanwhile, Vi, even after she finds out what Jinx has been up to, really just wants to reunite with her sister and get her help. And it's just all so good. God, it's weird. Basically, everything that happens in Zon is really, really good. That's not to say Jace doesn't also have an interesting thing. The whole thing about him trying to prove magic tech. Although, I do like how his mentor was kind of right. So, see, he has this mentor who's this weird furry creature. His name is, Heimendinger. And he is really against Jace doing magic. He's like the founder of the city. And, when the magic comes out, he's cautioning Jinx to take time. Like, Jason and them are like, we've discovered some new discoveries. Like, oh, wonderful. I'm sure in a few decades it'll be ready for work. And they're like, well, it's ready now. He's like, no, you need to take this slowly. New technology is amazing. I'm sure you're going to come up with some things that will improve our lives for generations. But it has to be done slowly, my boy. And meanwhile, him and his assistant Victor, who used to be an assistant to Highlander himself, and who even comes from Zahn, who has a really interesting perspective on the war between the two cities, are constantly pushing for progress at any cost until Jace realizes what he's done. Meanwhile, Victor falls full on into it. Jace pushes for progress, he builds the Hex Tech, and inadvertently gives Jinx the weapons she used to create her own version of the Hex Tech, and create essentially an arms race between Zahn and Piltover. He creates basically a magic machinery, a Hex Tech arms race with his inventions. The crystals are literally the only reason Zahn is able to use most of that stuff. Meanwhile, Piltover is advancing way too quickly, and when Jace realizes what the new weapons he's developed could do if they went to war with Zahn, he sues for peace because he doesn't want to see that, but he realizes he can't stop. He can only try and slow down what he's done. He can't stop it anymore. Meanwhile, Victor is pushing for technological advancement at all costs. They found this way of creating this learning magic cube, and they want to use it to cure Victor's disease using healing magic. But they can't figure out how to do it, and Victor is pushing for more and more experiments, even though it might get dangerous, in order to heal himself. And he has some stuff happen near the end too, and he has some association with the guy who made Shimmer, I think. But anyway, all in all, it just comes down to this massive, complicated web of interactions, and every person's actions fueling essentially an inevitable war between Piltover and Zahn. And it all comes to a head because basically Victor manages to force the High Council into suing for peace. They don't want to, but he forces them to. He convinces them this is the right thing to do. And meanwhile, Zahn is falling apart, and Soco just died. Vi and Mel are trying to escape. And meanwhile, Jinx has just had it. She's sick. She thinks that Piltover is the root behind it all. She's just ready for the world to burn. So she takes out her new weapon. She loads in the forged crystal, the new power source, and fires it straight at the council hall that's about to sue for peace. Literally, as the vote comes to a close, you see the rocket crash through the window. Cut to black. War has begun. God, I want season 2 so bad. Like, I cannot express how much I want season 2 right now. Oh, God, why do I always do this to myself? I binge something, I love it, and then I'm like, no, more, please. And I really, really want more of this. I haven't even gotten to the stuff where, like, Echo built, like, this little survivalist community of all the people in the underground who are trying to escape Soco, and they're in the middle of, like, this massive clearing where a tree, despite everything, a tree has grown, a massive, giant tree has grown in this small sliver of light meant to cut through the cracks. In this, basically a giant metaphor for how, yes, even in the darkness below, light finds a way to get there, things find a way to survive and grow and bloom. And Heimendinger even finds him there and is led to the community. And is like, even like, they explain to him that they're just trying to do a thing. And he's very impressed with Echo's boards, their hoverboards and stuff, and all the technology he's able to create. And he offers to teach him, even after he's been exiled from Piltover, even after he's been betrayed by the city and the students he helped. He still just, wants to help out. He wants to teach. He wants to help the next generation grow. And he wants to help Echo protect this small little sliver of land. Also, Echo has this amazing fight scene with Jinx where, like, Jinx used to play with, like, these paint guns when they were younger, and so they used to, like, have, like, play sparring matches. And when her and Echo did, she would always win. And it, like, plays out a simulation of the fights with them as kids. And then it cuts to Echo making just the right move, because he knows Jinx. He grew up with her. He knows her moves. And it literally has her going through the motions, and he realizes he can't go through the motions. And he dodges the right way at the last time where she would have gotten him and manages to get a decent blow in. And I just Loved that whole scene. It's beautifully well shot. The music is fantastic. The animation, seriously, whoever worked on this for the animation, kudos upon kudos upon kudos. This is fantastic. Do more stuff like this. Give us a season 2. I gotta have it. I actually started looking into League of Legends lore. There isn't that much there, but oh my god, I just love it so much. This style is so unique. It like cuts between the hand-drawn CG stuff, and it's beautiful. I know I keep saying that, but you have gotta see this show in action to understand it. It looks like the new season is going to be coming most likely after 2022. I think it's been delayed or something. I'm not sure. But I really, really do want to see this. I cannot express this enough. This show is just a work of art. It's also made me think something else. Okay, this is me talking to... I have a message for the rest of... all other studios and streaming sites. How are you this bad at making video game adaptations? Netflix has just racked out multiple video game adaptations in a row that are really, really good. What the heck are you idiots doing? Stop making garbage. Except for you, Universal, you made Detective Pikachu, you get a pass. Everybody else, get on your work. Video games can be made into good shows and movies now. You have no excuse anymore. Start doing better. That Uncharted movie better be good, Fox. Sorry, I had to go on that rant real quick. Because I just got finished, last episode, reviewing Resident Evil. And that movie was terrible, but it had real potential if they would only try. If you'd only apply yourselves like Netflix. Netflix over here is doing a good job. This plus Castlevania has submitted me. So it's basically gotten me to agree to this. Netflix, you make a video game adaptation, I'll be there for it. Hands down, you have the benefit of the doubt now. These have been both of your video game adaptations have been some of the best animated shows in years. I am there for whatever you want to adapt now. You have my trust. You're gonna fuck it up eventually, but until then, you have my trust. Sorry, I had to rant there for a second. It's just this is a really good adaptation of the source material from what let's put it away. It's a good adaptation of a video game into a really, really good story. I'm not sure how accurate this is to League lore, because again, I don't know much about it. I do know this is one of the best series I've ever seen. God, this is all just so good. I keep saying that. I just keep saying that. But yeah, that's basically all I gotta say on League. League of Legends new Arcane show. Go see it. Also, I like the name. Arcane, really good. Love the name. Fantastic. Can't wait to see what happens next. War between Zon and Piltover is gonna be interesting. Let's see what happens. Alright, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. By the time this video goes up, you should be able to access all my videos on YouTube, so go ahead and, go watch them. Go watch them all on YouTube in addition to listening to them here. Give me those views. Yeah. Also, be on alert. If you just, keep up to date with my Twitter profile, I'll be releasing that streaming information, so if any of you want to watch me do a Nuzlocke, a Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, check that out. See you guys next time.
I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode, and thank you for listening to the Dragon's Library. Please, subscribe to this podcast to be notified of new episodes. The Dragon's Library releases new episodes Tuesday and Friday each week, and you can follow us on Twitter at dragon_library2. If you want to suggest an episode topic, my email is in the description below. And as always, thank you so much for all your support.